Everyone needs a safe path to and from their home. How do you get that done? We're going to talk to some engineers that are going to go over how that is done professionally the right way and most effectively for you and your home. Stay tuned. Welcome back, everyone, to Your Little Castle Show, literally helping people connect with the experts so that they can set up their little castle. And great work. We showed off some great work in the first show. We've had our guests here on for one full half hour already. I convinced them that it's worth sticking around for another half hour because they know a lot, and they're engineers. They actually have degrees in engineering, is that right? And that is very important when you're starting to do structural developments, if you will, including roads and driveways, because there's, as we check out that first interview, everybody, there's a lot of information there shared, and why you would understand it's great to be an engineer to help make sure that these things get done correctly. So with that, welcome back both Glenn and Lynn and Hotshot Asphalt, and you service mostly the Franklin area, but all over Wentzville, and you cover a lot of the St. Louis area too.
Right.
Yes.
Very cool. All right, let's jump back in here. I want to. There was a question I was debating on because I wasn't certain, but I think there's a good point to be made here, and that is, there aren't any certifications for asphalt installation or development, but to have an engineering degree will definitely help and should be a requirement, I think, because you're talking about the way your slope and everything that goes into a path that's got to last. How long does the average asphalt last these days?
Well, if you take care of it, it'll last almost as long as concrete, so 20, 25 years before you start having to do some serious rehab on it.
Okay.
So.
That's interesting, yeah, because people imagine concrete's as hard as anything you got, but asphalt can keep up with that. That's
and it's
cool.
Smoother.
And yes, it is. That's true. We knew that smooth path. We like riding our bikes on the asphalt because it was smoother. Give me a little bit. I love pointing out the fact that we're small businesses working together. I'm sure there's some big sponsors out there that now are going to say, you just talked about how great small businesses are. Well, I'm sorry. They have an advantage because they can get things done, and you're dealing with the owners very often directly when you have to work with you get to work with a small business. And you said you've got a crew of about 20 altogether with everybody?
Yes, the company's about 20.
20 people. Yeah. So not a little bitty small business, but still small relative to the big guys are hundreds. And I worked for Anheuser-Busch. We had 60,000 mailboxes. It was kind of crazy. But what do you think some of the biggest advantages are in being a small business to help serve your clients?
Well, we can react more quickly. So when they call, we can get there quickly, and we can get them a quote quickly, and we can get it done. These bigger companies tend to build up big backlogs with public sector work, and that comes first, and everything else comes second. We concentrate just on residential, commercial, private side, and our backlog extends out a month or so we can, get the job done quickly for them.
And Lynn, some other big advantages you see there?
I'd like to think that we're more approachable because we are small. We've got a small office. People, I definitely welcome them to come and visit us so that they can see our facilities and talk with the ladies that they're, in the office, the people that actually pick up the phone that they would be talking to initially. So we're just, like I said, a lot more approachable. We can spend a little more time with people to explain what their issues are and what they need. Good possible solutions.
And people do come to our office all the time.
They do. We get a lot of visitors.
Yeah. When we took over the company, that wasn't the case, but every year we get more and more. Heck, we even have 2 or 3 customers at a time show up,
okay.
Which most contractors don't have.
And a real live place right behind us, so you can see there. It's
right.
An actual physical location, which some asphalt companies don't have, which would probably cause you to ask some questions about their background and what they're going to provide. But what would you say is the biggest? This is my favorite question. What's the biggest mistake that people often make when they're making a decision to get some asphalt?
I would say that they need to realize that they aren't necessarily comparing apples to apples between contractors. that not all contractors are created equally, that the thing that one contractor may be promising, they might not deliver on. In our industry, it's very easy to cut short on materials.
Okay.
So it's from the surface, you can't tell if it's 1 inches or 3 inches of asphalt. So, so you need to really look at Google reviews for one. That's a good place to start. Whether or not they have a physical presence, which means that they are accountable. You can hold them accountable for whatever they do or don't do for you. You know where they are. So you can find them again. So that's a big thing.
And the other thing would be, if there's a big price difference between your quotes, like 25, 30, 50%, you are not getting the same product. Because materials is such a large portion of the total price, we're not going to be that far off unless someone's not planning on using the same amount of material. So you have to be a little bit smart about it. Don't just jump at a low bid, because you may end up not getting a very good product in the end.
I oftentimes tell people that we are not going to be probably the low bidder. We'll be somewhere in the middle usually, but you'll get what you ask for and what you're paying for.
Yeah, if people say I want the cheapest bid available, they're cutting something somewhere, and it's going to come out in the long term longevity of this thing, the quality and structure and
exactly,
and the workmanship. So, not a way to cut corners and things that we don't recommend. But you mentioned you do both residential and commercial, and what kind of commercial stuff do you do, and what percentage of each would you say?
I'll answer that. So 80% of what we do is residential by number of jobs, but the big dollar amounts come from the commercial. We do parking lots for churches, businesses. We do industrial drives. We do a lot of HOA work, especially out in Franklin County, where there's a lot of HOAs, always needing help, never having enough money.
Right,
but we try to help them along with that and give them all their options.
What do you prefer about working with each? There's some benefits to each, but what do you like most working
Well,
with?
residential people are the friendliest, but they can also be very particular in what they want, not understand. It's hard when you're doing asphalt work. It's a process. You got one shot to get it right. So it doesn't always, turn out perfect. It's not perfect materials, so there's little imperfections. But usually we get a high mark from residential. HOAs, it's a lot of times about politics. They a lot of negotiating, in-house with them on what they want or what they can do or can afford to do. So we have to do a lot of coaching, to help the process along.
And sometimes even go to a meeting to help to explain the scope of work and what they need and what they can do within the budget. So, that's part of what we do too.
They've got those
teach.
fees that we're all supposed to pay every year and go into the HOA kitty, if you will, and then they come back. We had guys, I know the guys, they cut the cement here rather than doing this asphalt. Tell me, is that another matter of the way you've got older cement that's starting to chip and break and crack, rather than pull it out and put new cement, then you can cover it with asphalt and make it last longer? Or?
We can. We don't recommend it.
Okay.
Because any crack you see in that asphalt will reflect through to any crack you see in the concrete will reflect through to the asphalt within a couple of years. So we prefer to take it out and start over, when you get to that point.
Interesting. Yeah, my neighborhood did that back as a kid. You still see the cement on the edges, but the asphalt down the middle. Not a preferred method.
No.
Okay. Interesting. Residential, commercial, HOAs. We all love our HOAs. What do you like about the market that you have? You're Franklin County and a lot of St. Louis. What do you enjoy most about the people you get to serve?
Well, I think I really enjoy being a member of the community, for one. We do live in Washington, so that's kind of we do work all around our house, so we get to know people, which is really enjoyable for me. You see people out on the street or whatever, and you see them again. So I do like that part of being in the smaller market.
And for our employees, they enjoy working out in the country.
Right.
Many of them
That's
have
true.
come from the city
Okay.
and where it's not always nice and very congested, and then they come out to work for us, and they're driving around the countryside, and it's beautiful in Franklin County. So that's definitely an added plus.
And you get to work outside, right? And so in God's green earth.
That's good until it's 100 degrees.
And you need those little portable air conditioner units or those other things. But interesting to hear the different perspectives on all that, because it matters, and those are things that we all want to consider when we pick a place to start a business and do what we do. We do interviews. We had a guy on from Sacramento. Now, he wasn't here, but we did it electronically through Zoom remotely. That's a different thing. You're not doing installations of asphalt.
Right.
This is something you got to be hands-on. You got to be on site to do this and do it right. Tell me a time when you really helped a client that was in a tough situation. You know, business, you probably have had a number of instances where somebody was in a tough situation.
Is their name Doris last year?
Oh, yeah, there was an older couple, kind of not totally housebound, but pretty much. She did get out now and then for her kitchen band, I think is what she called it, but very, very sweet couple. But they lived down a very long driveway. It was probably a quarter of a mile at least, and it was all gravel. So up a hill, and then the water, would wash away their gravel, and they would try to put it back, and anyway, it was a big mess. But then they also, at the bottom of the hill, they had a series of large, like 6-foot culverts, 4 of them, as a waterway, and that was crushing. It was falling in on itself a little bit. You could see that it was distorted. So anyway, Glenn and I had done bridge work in the past, so I knew what I was looking at, and they had another guy come in and tell them that it was going to cost them $100,000 to replace this whole thing. And I said, oh, wait a minute. You don't have to replace it. You need to shore it up. You need to basically line it again with concrete. So they had another contractor come in. I told him what we wanted, and he goes, yeah, absolutely, I can do that. And that's absolutely what you need. So anyway, what was it?
For $12,000,
yeah.
it will last them another 20 years.
As long as what they
That's
need.
a lot less than $100,000.
Right.
And this is another case where engineering background came in handy. We could look at it and say, it's not the best, but we can get another 20 years out of it. It's a low volume driveway, not a lot of heavy loads on it. So we don't have to go to that extent of putting in a brand new culvert system, in this case. Plus, they just want to get by 10 years and sell the house and make sure when they sell their property, they're handing over, a safe driveway. So we met their goals for them.
There you go. This is what businesses that are successful do. Meet the customer, make sure you can help them to get what they need, right, versus selling them something just to make $100,000 tab. That's a pretty expensive for any individual homeowner to absorb. So a lot with that. Tell me a challenge you guys, with regard to running a business, challenge you guys overcome, made you stronger, but helped you.
I'll take that one, because it's a daily battle, and it's getting better, and it's finding good employees.
Yeah.
I did not know what ghosted mean until a few years ago, when employees, we'd hire them and then they wouldn't show up, or they'd show up for a day or two and disappear. And to find good, qualified people has been very difficult. We've kind of trained our own guys, so we have more people returning, so we don't need as many new people. And it's finally getting to the point where people are showing back up, ready to work again. But it's still an ongoing challenge, and it's a challenge throughout construction. So any construction guy you talk to will tell you the same thing. Trying to find good people is slowing down their business.
Quality workers, yeah, that's what we're looking for. I found this can be the most difficult task to find.
But I think as employers, our mission is to provide a nice workplace, a nice work environment, decent wages, and we provide benefits. We pay 100% benefits for each employee. So you know, we try to give them something so that they will in turn want to continue to come back to us. So it's a nice work environment. No yellers and screamers.
Sounds like a great place to work, everybody. And it's great to see our business owners, you know, running a company to help make sure take care of their customers and their employees, which we often see on this little planet is difficult and sometimes not done the right way. Obviously, you guys, with all the reviews and all the good work you've produced, doing a great job with that. With that, we're going to jump back into some community stuff we've got going on. We'll share this with you. Check it out.
Hey everybody, we've got some baseball players in the building here. Who's your guys? All right, first off, let's talk about who's your guys' favorite player? Bryce Harper. Bryce Harper. Tyler. Last name. Mason Wynn. Fernando Tatis Jr. Aaron Judge. Who'd you get? Bryce. All right, so we got a Cardinal fan in there. You guys are from the Misfits, right? You guys are from down close to Paducah, Kentucky, right? How long a drive was it to get up there? Only a couple. It wasn't that long. Hey, like I said, when you get older, you start playing big league ball and traveling on for stuff. It's gonna be a lot longer drives. Maybe okay for that? We're gonna pay you well. Okay? You ready? All right. So, why did you guys decide to come up here to see the Cardinals? Come on up here. Let's hear what they say. Why did you decide you want to come see the Cardinals? What's your name first?
Hunter.
Hunter. Why did you decide to come see the Cardinals?
Because we're playing a tournament here.
Because you're playing a tournament here. What about you?
His name is Carter Rethwich, but in St. Louis, he's known as the Cardinal Cowboy. He's a well-known fixture in the stands at sporting events in the Gateway City. He's one of its greatest cheerleaders, a super fan like no other. When he makes his rounds at almost every home game, he shares his love for sports with the rest of fandom with a smile, a cheer, some positive encouragement, and lots of selfies and pics. But the Cardinal Cowboy was born of a tragic incident. Rethwich was an aspiring athlete in high school and college. He dreamed of playing in the big leagues, but those dreams ended when he and 3 of his college friends were hit with a devastating crash by a 5-time drunk driver. One of his best friends died. Carter suffered a critical head injury. The trauma put him in a coma for 6 days. The doctors said he was never expected to function again. Those expectations never came true. He fought back and finished college. He was determined to prove the doctors wrong. Among other inspirations, it was his love of baseball that kept him going. And from his near-death experience, the Cardinal Cowboy emerged. His goal in life became to inspire others with positivity despite the odds, to help people believe in themselves and achieve their dreams.
So after my coma, I realized that it was up to me if I was going to accomplish my goals, if I was going to reach my dreams. Despite what the naysayers would say, the people that were discouraging me, like they do everyone, it's up to me if I'm going to make it. Don't listen to the naysayers. It's up to you. You decide whether you're going to succeed, whether you're going to reach your goals. Dream, and then always, always chase your dreams. Never give up. Giddy up.
Hey, we're looking for the small business owners and leaders in our community to be on our show. This is the Your Little Castle Show. We air 3 times a week, every week on ABC, and we would like to put somebody you know, or maybe it's you, who's a business owner to be on our show. You'll sit right here in our guest chair, right here, sitting here talking to us. We're going to put on the wall your website and everything about you and highlight you as a leader. Fill out the form you see here on our website. It's bigleagues.com, and if you go to bigleagues.com, fill out this form. It takes just a couple seconds, and you can even schedule yourself right here. Schedule yourself to be on the show, and there is no charge for us to record you. There's no charge to be in the studio. Check it out if you would like to be on. Fill out the form again, bigleagues.com. This is where we can turn any interview into a series of clips. Check that out. Go to bigleagues.com. So with that, you can see technology has changed the way the world works, everybody. So We've got expensive, fun microphones and cameras and all the stuff we use to produce a TV show. But the media these days has changed the way you function. You magnetize your media. Pick up our book, #1 seller on Amazon. Yours truly wrote the introduction here, the foreword. But I can tell you, I said, Carter, we don't know anybody who uses the media more than you. And but who doesn't have a smartphone and they're at their disposal, or maybe two, right? Because they're like, hey, hello, but I know I can stream and talk on the phone at the same time. But we got to get the word out, and media has changed the way you've done that. You guys have Facebook, your website. How has technology changed the way you guys run your business?
Oh, on several different levels. From the marketing standpoint, obviously, you have to have a good website. People just don't take you seriously unless you have a decent website. And we use our Facebook more as a social platform. So
Right.
we were told by our marketing people that we needed to start putting out like three contacts every week, you know, to
posts a
try
week, yeah.
to raise us up a little bit in the metrics there. So you'll be seeing more of us if you follow us at all in our Facebook, probably befores and afters, and just highlighting different employees and things like that. So that's one aspect. But then Glenn is our internal.
So we bought into a computerized system for everything we do, kind of like one platform, and that's been years in the making. And I think it's one of the things that separates us, because our pricing is consistent, you know, between different customers. It allows us to get things out more quickly, and the message is the same from across different quotes that we do. And, you know, we don't have a lot of losses. We don't have a lot of big winners, but you know, we do it for what we say we can do it for. And it's definitely has improved our operations and makes it a little bit easier than trying to start everything from scratch or resorting to the back of the, you ever have guys do this? They come in, give you a quote, write a number on the back of their business card and hand it to you.
I haven't had that one recently, but
that has been known to happen.
Here's what we'll do it for, one-time summary price.
That's right.
And our computer system is keeps track of our customers. So if and we get a lot of repeat business, you know, for seal coating particularly, but expanding and whatnot. And they can call in. They just give us their name. You know, we can look them right up again, and we have all their information. So it makes it a lot easier to just deal with people on a repeat basis too. So it almost feels like friends, because you know them. You've oftentimes heard their name, or they've been out on our mailing list for several years or whatever. So, you know, we do get to know people that way.
Yeah, the computers have made things a lot more systematized here, but they also do those little reminders to reach out for that personal touch too, and so you can communicate best. But get a CRM. We've got one we recommend to people, but yeah, get that client management resource. That
Customer relationship.
CRM, customer relationship management. That's right. Easy for me to say, but manage it properly so you can keep in touch and organize and stay on top of your game. Because
we do all of our scheduling and invoicing, everything from the same system. So
yeah, on the ball. There we go. Using those systems to make things more effective. Well, then tell me the process. What is it that by now people are looking at us going, all right, these guys know what they're doing. I want to hire them. What is the process for somebody that wants to get started with you?
Well, first they call us, typically we just get a phone call into the office. We have a couple of ladies that will take the information, enter you into our system, ask you some questions, just basic, you know, well, what are you thinking here? What do you want done? You know, they'll look up your address probably on Google Earth just to make sure that they have the right spot.
Right.
And then they enter, like I said, they enter that all in. They'll assign it to an estimator, you know, oftentimes me, and then I will. At the same time that you
the phone call, right?
Yeah, at the same time that you call in, they'll also schedule an appointment for someone to come out. So sometimes before I go out, I'll actually look up their area. If it's something that's pretty clear cut, I'll try to come up with a little ballpark figure for people, and then sometimes I'll text that to them and I'll say, is this all you needed at this point, or would you actually like for me to come out? And a lot of times they'll say, that's all I needed right now. I just wanted to budget this for the moment. And you know, sometimes we get phone calls years later from the same people, and they'll say, "I'm ready now," you know. But then I will follow up with a visit if they want a formal quote at that time, and if they want to meet or if they need to meet, then that's when we do that. We'll talk about things, and I'll get them a nice formal written quote.
Yeah, that's an extensive process there, but yeah, this isn't something you can do over the phone too easily. You need to go out to see them. They get the information though off your website. I'm going to put this up there for everybody to take a look. Like we said before, great looking website. There's the phone number in the top right corner, and then if you scroll on down, you can see lots of good information here. But right here, the contact us page, so they can fill that form out, and within a few seconds, you'll have some contact information, and then they can reach out to you and take it from there, or you'll reach out to them in that case, and
Right.
how quickly does it take before you get to somebody to give them an actual bid at their location or whatever?
We can usually get out to them within, well, it depends on how busy we are. Within a couple of weeks, we can, depending on what the weather is. Like, the weather's great now, but back when it was snowing, obviously we couldn't see anything. So, so usually within a week, week and a half, we can get out to their site, and then it might take another week beyond that, depending on how backed up we are. So usually within 2 to 3 weeks, they can get solid numbers. But like I said, I can get them a ballpark pretty quickly. Just it's the actual process of having to lay things out so that they can understand it in a quote. It takes a little bit of time because everything is customized. We do have internal systems that make it faster, but still each area is different. So it takes a little bit of time.
Well said. What's the biggest objection? What's the biggest question people have?
Oh boy, objection to.
Is it always price, or what do people always say? Well, I want to do this, but do I really need to do it, or?
Asphalt is not cheap. It is not and concrete's not cheap. So a lot of it is price.
I think there's sticker shock.
Yeah.
That definitely comes in play.
Which is understandable.
But they'll, check it out and they understand we're in the ballpark. And the other is, depending on who they get a quote from, the prices, can vary quite a bit. And then we have to help them through, okay, let's talk about this and maybe why that's happening.
Yeah, when they're cutting corners and they give you this price, it's 50% off, 25% off.
Yeah.
There's some red flags there. You need to help them figure out why the price was so different. Cutting quality, and this is something they want this to last 30, 40, 50 years versus something you don't do this every 6 months, right?
Correct.
It's very expensive to do it that way. High quality stuff. Well, like we say, everybody, we appreciate you guys coming in from Union, Missouri, and spending some time with us here. I'm right down Highway 44, or some people say 45, right? But my mom says that, I think. But serving a great area here and doing this for a long time now, and obviously with that engineering background, you're going to make sure that people get taken care of correctly with the proper setup, and make sure that the price is right and it lasts long. What are you getting of value? Not what you paid. What's the value of it? The value of it is pretty tremendous when you're helping people make this kind of decision. Stay tuned for more, everybody. You're watching the Your Little Castle Show. Giddy up.